Evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts and Sciences. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today is commemorated as Vesak Day, which is also known as Buddha Purnima. Vesak, the day of full moon in the month of May, is most sacred day to millions of Buddhists around the world. It was on the day of Vesak, 2.5 millennia ago, in the year 623 BC, that the Buddha was born. It was also on this day of Vesak that Buddha attained enlightenment. And it was on the day of Vesak that the Buddha, in his 80th year, passed away. So the General Assembly, by its resolution 54/115 of 1999, recognized internationally the day of Vesak to acknowledge the contribution that Buddhism, one of the oldest religions in the world, had made for over 2.5 millennia and continues to make to the spirituality of humanity. This day is commemorated annually at the UN headquarters and other UN offices in consultation with the relevant UN offices and with permanent missions, which also wish to be consulted. So the background, when we look at the background of this event or commemoration, we have to go back to the teachings of the Buddha, and his message of compassion and peace and goodwill have moved millions. Millions around the world follow the teachings of the Buddha, and on the day of Vesak commemorate the birth, the attainment of enlightenment, and the passing away of the Buddha. A message from the former Secretary General, Javier Perez de Suiller, to Buddhists on the day of Vesak in May 1986 reads, "For Buddhists everywhere, it is indeed a felicitous opportunity while commemorating the birth, enlightenment, and pass away of Gautam Buddha. to celebrate his message of compassion and devotion to the service of humanity. This message is today perhaps more relevant than ever before. Peace, understanding, and a vision of humanity that supersedes national and other international differences are essential if we are to cope up with the complexities of a nuclear age. This philosophy lies at the heart of the Charter of the United Nations and should be prominent in all our thinking, especially during this international era of peace. As quoted by Javier Perez de Silva, UNESCO is currently implementing a project to develop a unique Buddhist heritage route for sustainable tourism development in South Asia with support from the Korea International Cooperation Agency, in short known as COICA. South Asia is host to a rich Buddhist heritage that is exemplified by the World Heritage properties across the region. Religious movements and religions have had an important role in the history of the Silk Roads. It is notably the case of Buddhism, which had a considerable influence on the early trade routes. Within these growing trade route networks, Buddhism started its development from Indian subcontinent and reached other regions alongside the Silk routes. Buddhism dogma was to a great extent in favor of trade and encouraged commerce and investments. Today, Buddhists across global and globe celebrate Vesak Day, which marks the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Buddha. Last October, having the privilege of traveling to the Buddha's birthplace of Lumbini, Nepal, this deeply inspiring visit reaffirmed my conviction that the Buddha's timeless teachings of peace, comparison, and service to others are the pathway to a better, more understanding, and harmonious world for all. Today and every day, let us be guided by the spirit of Vesak and by a renewed faith in what we can accomplish. As a united human family, let's work as one to build more peaceful and sustainable future, as quoted by Antonio Guterres, who is Secretary General in 2024. So today, the day of Vesak occurs annually on the day of full moon in May. Today, we are celebrating Buddha Purnima, that is full moon day. This year, it takes place on May 23, because it keeps changing as per the lunar and solar calendars. It is celebrated as the day that Buddha was born and he was enlightened, and the day he attained Nirvana. The exact date of the day of Vesak is based on the Asian lunisolar calendars and is primarily celebrated in Vaishakha, a month of both Buddhist and Hindu calendars. Buddhism is one of the oldest religions in the world, and millions of people around the world follow the teachings of Buddha. On Vesak, followers assemble in their temples before dawn for the ceremonial hoisting of the Buddhist flag. Followers will also sing hymns in the praise of the Holy Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, his teachings, and the Sangha, his disciples. Buddhist celebrations and festivals are century-old traditions. As Buddhism spread from India to the rest of the world, it was assimilated into many foreign cultures. As a result, the day of Vesak is often celebrated in various ways all over the world. Siddhartha Gautama, who was born in Nepal and lived during the 5th century BC, he is the founder of Buddhism. He was born into a wealthy family but decided to give up his lavish lifestyle. Still not fulfilled, he promoted the idea of the middle way, which means existing between two extremes, a life without indulgence but also without deprivation. After many years of searching, he found enlightenment while meditating under a Bodhi tree. He dedicated his life to the teachings others how to achieve the spirit of the state. He passed away in around 483 BC. After his death, or after he attained Nirvana, his teachings became the foundation for what would develop into Buddhism. Occasionally, the month may have two full moons, as there are 29.5 days between each full moon. When this occurs, some countries such as Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Malaysia celebrate the day of Vesak on the first full moon, while others like Thailand and Singapore celebrate it on the second full moon. And some also have the tradition of celebrating on both full moons. So Buddhists bring offerings to the temple, usually flowers or joss sticks on this day of Vesak. Birds, animals, and insects are released, representing the gift of freedom to those who are held in captivity or imprisoned. A small statue of Buddha might be displayed in front of the altar. It usually sits in a basin filled with water and decorated with flowers, allowing devotees to pour water over the statue. This symbolizes the cleansing of bad karma and a reenactment of the events following Buddha's birth when he was showered with sacred waters by gods and spirits. In 3rd century BC, Ashoka the Great makes Buddhism the state religion of India. The Western world becomes more aware of Buddhism through colonial servants, administrators, and Christian missionaries. In 19th century, the first known modern Western conversions to Buddhism occurred in the late 19th century. Large-scale immigration of Chinese and Japanese to the US and Canada leads to growth of Buddhism in the West in 1975. In 20th century, Buddhists such as D.T. Suzuki, Suan Hua, Hakun Vastani, and Thich Nhat Hanh are influential in teaching Zen Buddhism in the West in 20th century. So as there is change in dates, but still the dates of the Vesak change based on the full moon occurs in the May. It is still always in the May. The term Vesak has origins in the Pali term Vaishaka, that is, or Sanskrit Vaishaka, for the lunar month of Vaishaka. So today, even for the Buddhists or non-Buddhists, generally Buddhists restrain from all kinds of non-vegetarian and related products. And those who observe Vesak day eat vegetarian meals. Those who are not Buddhist or not following the strict diet of Buddhist diet. So this day, spend the day reflecting on the teachings of Buddha. Even if you are not a Buddhist, you can learn a lot. Things from Buddhist philosophy, such as the value of balance and moderation in life. Hold a bathing, the Buddha ceremony, by pouring water over the shoulders of Buddha. This is done to remind people to clear the minds of negative thoughts if you have differing religious beliefs. You may also take the ritual metaphorically and try to cleanse yourself of bad emotions and habits. Wear special white clothes to mark this occasion and try to eat a vegetarian diet. For the day, Buddhists are vegetarian because they believe in reincarnation and that all meat was once someone's father, mother, or child. So even as a non-Buddhist, it is a reminder that we should value the life of all living beings and abstain from eating eat meat and meat products. So the term Buddhists don't call their religion as Buddhism, like Hinduism was never coined by any Hindus. Like Hindus never call their religion as Hinduism. They call it as Sanatana Dharma. Why these all religions were coined by the Western scholars, those from other religions, like especially Christianity and Islam and from other religions, because they want to name the lifestyle, the common lifestyle here. That's why we always keep saying, Hinduism or for that matter, Buddhism, these are all not religions which have been to differentiate people. They have created religions. There is a system that is followed, Sanatana Dharma, to differ themselves, to differentiate themselves. Religions, because they had their own religion and they want to differentiate. So they named, Hindu as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, so that they can refer and show the discrimination or differentiation between their religions and others. That's how, because of these Western scholars and Westerners, all these names like Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism came into existence. The fourth largest religion in the world is Buddhism. There are approximately 360 million followers of Buddhism. In Buddhism, there is no single holy book, and Buddhists do not believe in a supreme being or creator. There is no single holy book or God. A Buddha is not a person, but is the name of a person who has reached nirvana, the state of enlightenment. So anyone can be Buddha. There are three branches of Buddhism: Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. It is one of the oldest and most followed religions. We love learning about the long and interesting history behind religion. Its teaching have survived through the ages and has affected many aspects of culture and different systems of philosophy. Many Buddhists will do good deeds, bring offerings to the temple, and share food with Buddha. And Buddha placed much value on life, and many of his most teachings revolve around the compassion. If at all, we have to say that any religion that promotes, other than, promoting peace and global harmony, it is the Buddhism and Jainism, as they completely restrain themselves from any kind of cruelty, inflicting pain or suffering to any species on the planet. That's why they refrain from eating meat and meat products, so that for the sake of food, they do not inflict pain, suffering to any species on the planet and kill them and consume them as food. So that if we have to term any peaceful religion, that is none other than, this Buddhism and Jainism. Of course, Sanatana Dharma has been always there ahead. And all other religions somehow, in some way, promote these killings, suffering, hatred, conversions, and all these things which create a lot of, disturbance in the society, divisions in the society, discrimination in the society. So many Buddhists will do good deeds on this day, promoting the teachings, promoting the global peace, promoting the global harmony. Today, Buddhism is the fourth largest religion, and people around the world will observe the day. Even believers of other religions can take part in the celebrations and practice some of their teachings, such as those related to moderation, compassion, and self-awareness. Even many Hindus also, for that matter. Of course, this is not a division created by us or any of us. It was just the influence of Westerners that they have created. Hindus also follow and these traditions of Buddhism and Jainism because all are related to each other, but they have significant differences. But still, underlying principles of any religion is global peace and harmony. But unfortunately, certain religions have their own agendas, such creating hatred, discrimination, and division among the community, spreading hate and violence by discriminating and promoting propaganda of saying that some religions are inferior to other religions, or their god or their belief system, their religion is superior than other religions. This kind of narcissistic and psycho kind of thought process is always harmful to the world. That is why lot of hatred, lot of violence, a lot of suffering happens in this world because of that kind of attitude, that kind of propaganda that is spread by the so-called peaceful religions, which claim themselves, preach themselves as peaceful religions, but they are the most violent religions in the world, which are creating a lot of unrest across the world. So today, on the occasion of this Vesak, Buddha Purnima is celebrated in India and Nepal, and also across the world for those in South Asian countries. Buddha Purnima, also known as Buddha Jayanti, celebrates the birth of Prince Siddhartha Gautama, a Nepali prince who later on became as a Buddha, the founder of Buddhism. So the word Purnima in Sanskrit is for full moon, which explains why it is celebrated on a full moon day. And Jayanti means birthday. The word Buddha is given to those who attain bodhi or wisdom. Hence the name was ascribed to Siddhartha once he attained enlightenment. So it is commonly celebrated during the month of Vaishakha in Buddhist and lunar calendars. And thus, whoever attains nirvana whoever attains enlightenment becomes Buddha. So Buddha's followers never officially celebrated his birthday, though for many centuries, festivals to honor Buddha was held. So it is in a different way. There is a way, this day is celebrated as a gratitude. In fact, the celebration of Buddha Purnima was not formalized until modern times. It was only in May 1950, at the first conference of the World Fellowship of Buddhists in Colombo, Sri Lanka, that Buddha Purnima was officiated as celebration during Vesak. It was agreed upon that the day of full moon in May would be auspicious due to Buddha attaining nirvana on a full moon. The reason why Buddhism began to gain popularity was due to the teachings of non-violence, peace, harmony, respect for life, and more equal approach to the role of women, concepts that were much in keeping with both tradition and modern ideas of progress. Thus, many countries across the world began to become primarily Buddhist nations, especially in Asia. Buddhism itself branched into subsects as each culture adopted and assimilated the main tenets. Today, Buddhism is practiced in different forms all over the world, and it is especially inclusive because it does not celebrate any deities as other religions do. This philosophical bent of Buddhism gives it popularity across various groups of people. It is this kinds of, religionless society like Sanatana Dharma, or if at all, any kind of such religion is required for humanity, for the betterment of the humans and society. It is only like Buddhism and Jainism that can help promote peace, harmony in the society across the planet. And no other religion can achieve truly a global peace which promotes hatred, discrimination, division of society, and conversions. So Buddha gains enlightenment under a tree at Bodh Gaya, Bihar, in India, in around 528 BC. So Buddha attains nirvana, that is released from the cycle of birth and death, that is rebirth, and passes away into the state of deep meditation. During the reign of King Ashoka, a patron of Buddhism, Buddhism begins to spread throughout the Asia, and Buddhist evangelism begins and is promoted by the rulers and making it a state religion. So Buddha was a human who was considered to be an extraordinary, like all of us, but not a god. He was seeker who found enlightenment by using morality, meditation, and wisdom, which is why many find his teachings applicable to their lives, as anyone can become Buddha. In Buddhism, strangely, it is predicted to see a decline from 7% to 5% due to relative infertility of Buddhist communities and people groups. So there is no known correlation between the practice of Buddhism and a decline in infertility. No, actually many religions are very conscious about the planet, especially, the Sanatana Dharma also promotes the harmony among the nature. That's why they are very conscious about reproducing and the kind of population having a natural control, because the overexploded population is not only taxing on the planet, but also it creates a lot of issues. We need to have natural balance. And unfortunately, the natural predators for humans are diseases and disorders and disasters, which are being overcome by human beings through various technological advancements, which are destroying the planet and nature, environment. But this is not at all for good. These are for the short-term benefits, which we are trading for long-term benefits, which not only we are going to pay for it, but the future generations will continue to pay forever. So that's why we have to keep population under control. So we also see the Buddhists, especially the population has been declining from 7 to 5%. In certain religions, we see the population is increasing like anything, like they are just, population is exploding and it is taxing on the planet. So there are various differences. That is why religious studies is also, comparative religious studies is also very important to understand, what religion is preaching and what religion is practicing, and which religion is really contributing to the global peace, harmony, and sustainability. Otherwise, we'll be in a wrong system where we are causing more harm than good to the society and the planet. Of course, there is no correlation, known correlation between the practice of Buddhism and a decline in fertility. However, our best guess is that it has something to do with the Buddhist monks practicing celibacy. They are very particular about these, sexual activities and illegal sex and premarital sex. And there are a lot of constraints. They have discipline, in fact, in terms of even sexual relationships. That's why they maintain, because see, all these sexual pleasures, drives, especially pleasures obtaining from body and all, when you have control on yourself, automatically the other things fall into place. You tend to control. When you have control on yourself through meditation and other process, automatically the other things will fall into place. So that's why, the peace is established global harmony is maintained. Otherwise, if you lose control, what you will do? You will not only create unrest within yourself, but also in the society, and you will destroy the society ultimately, either gradually or all of a sudden. So Buddha is commonly depicted as bald, chubby figure who is smiling, or a sage figure sitting cross-legged with coiled hair and elongated earlobes. The real Buddha probably looked emaciated because of all the fascinating or all the fasting he did, and some early carvings show an old man with robe and top knot sitting in a meditation position. The laughing Buddha, commonly associated with Buddhism, is actually a depiction of legendary Chinese monk called Budai, who lived 1300 years after Buddha died. So Buddhist teachings were originally passed on through the word of mouth or stone carvings. Thanks to the modern technology, we have access to the teachings Buddha right at our fingertips. You can look at the traditional ancient original sources or listen to TED Talk by Dalai Lama or any podcast on Buddhism or read a book. It's always a good idea to slow down and pause amidst the stresses of daily life. Meditation is fast becoming a common practice among diverse cultures, irrespective of religion. Attend a class or try your own meditation routine. There is no one size fits for all. Just remember and relax. Since Buddhist teachings are primarily about care and respect for living things, this is a great opportunity to find a case you feel strongly about and donate to it. It could be anything from animal shelters to homes for the elderly, just as long as you can show that you care. In India, pilgrimages are made to key places in Buddha's life, and Buddhists avoid eating meat. The Chinese celebrate by visiting pagodas and lighting incense, candles, and lanterns. Japan celebrate with flowers. Hanamatsuri flower festival is where statues of Buddha are decorated with flowers and bathed with a special flower juice. South Koreans celebrate by giving out free food and lighting up lotus lanterns. In South Korea, Buddhists in Thailand gather in temples and chant prayers together. Buddha Purnima unites Buddhists all over the world for a common cause to celebrate the three main events of the life of Buddha: his birth, his enlightenment, and his nirvana. It builds awareness of the teachings of Buddha in a way that respects all cultures. Buddha Purnima commemorates the life of a historical figure whose teachings have changed the lives of millions and promoted global peace, global harmony, and the sustainability. Whether Buddha is viewed as a spiritual or philosophical or a religious figure, there is no doubt about the impact his words have had on people for centuries and continues to have. Buddhism teaches us a way of life. You don't have to be a follower of Buddha to appreciate the relevance of his teachings on wisdom. Like many religions force you to be converted into their religion to follow them. There is nothing like that in Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, or in Jainism, Buddhism. You need not be a Hindu to follow Hinduism. There is an unlike like other religions. So if you like, you can follow without being a Buddha or a Buddhist. You don't have to follow Buddhism or practice Buddhism to appreciate the relevance of teachings on wisdom, concentration, and discipline. Even today, there is something for everyone. All it requires is an open mind, which is now very much required, which is lacking by the masses. And people are fighting and killing themselves in the name of religions. Today, we are also commemorating International Day to End fistula, nearly 500,000 of women and girls worldwide are living with obstetric fistula. Thousands of new cases occur annually. For every maternal death, 20 to 30 additional women experience childbirth injuries that significantly affect their quality of life and well-being. 9% of instances of obstetric fistula result in stillbirths. Over the past 2 decades, UNFPA has supported 140,000 fistula repair surgeries. Over 12,000 women and girls received social reintegration support between 2018 and 2020. Midwives provide the majority of first-line maternity care and are key to preventing fistula and other childbirth injuries. In 2021, the global shortage of midwives is estimated at 9 lakhs, of which 5 lakhs are needed in sub-Saharan African only alone. So breaking the cycle and preventing the fistula worldwide, obstetric fistula is a hole between the birth canal and the bladder or rectum causing by prolonged obstructed labor without access to timely, high-quality medical treatment. It leaves women and girls leaking urine, feces, or both, and often leads to chronic medical problems, depression, social isolation, and deepening poverty. 90% of pregnancies involve fistula end in stillbirth. The global landscape of maternal health has been seen significant strides in recent years. Yet the specter of obstetric fistula persists, particularly in lower and middle income countries. While pregnancy and childbirth are generally safer than ever before, thousands of women still endure the devastating consequences of obstetric fistula. Annually, the childbirth injury resulting from prolonged and obstructed labor is not just a medical issue, but a reflection of systemic inequalities ingrained within societies. This year's themes, Breaking the Cycle, Preventing Fistula Worldwide, underscores the urgent need to address obstetric fistula comprehensively, emphasizing equitable access to quality maternal health services, social reintegration, and sustained investment in healthcare systems. UNFPA leads the global campaign to end fistula, a drive to transform the lives of vulnerable women and girls. The 21-year-old campaign represents a global commitment to fistula prevention and holistic treatment, including surgical repair and social integration and rehabilitation. Despite progress, elimination by 2030 demands accelerated action and starting now. In 2023, so ending obstetric fistula by 2030, in 2003, United Nations Population Fund, in short known as UNFPA, and its partners launched a global campaign to end fistula in line with the international targets to improve maternal and newborn health and with the goal of making obstetric fistula as rare in developing countries as in the developed world. In 2018, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution to end it by 2030. Ending fistula globally demands strong political leadership, strategic and urgent intervention, significantly increased resources, and strengthened collaboration between governments, partners, civil society, healthcare providers, women, and communities. Obstetric fistula is preventable. It can largely be avoided by delaying the age of first pregnancy, the cessation of harmful traditional practices, and timely access to obstetric care. Despite improvements in overall pregnancy safety, health systems and communities continue to struggle ensure safe childbirth, resulting in tens of thousands of women and girls sustaining injuries like obstetric fistula annually. Furthermore, climate change and obstacles presented by the coronavirus disease COVID-19 pandemic exacerbate the root causes of fistula. Considering the complexities posed by these challenges, it's imperative now, more than ever, to call on the international community to use the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula to significantly raise awareness and intensify actions towards ending obstetric fistula, as well as urging post-surgery follow-up and tracking of fistula patients. There are also guiding principles which have been issued for clinical management and program development. The so-called Orange Manual have long been only authoritative gold standard guide to the holistic, comprehensive, and bigger picture aspects of eliminating obstetric fistula, including the programming, policy, prevention, treatment, social reintegration, and many more. The original 2006 version of the manual has now been updated with the latest evidence, strategies, tools, and resources. You can refer to this for more information. So this is a day to know about obstetric fistula besides the basic truth, including what it is, why it happens, who it affects, and where it happens. There are 5 more things you should know. A problem that affects 50,000 to 1 lakh women each year. About 800 women die from pregnancy or childbirth related complications around the world every day. For every woman who dies of maternal related causes, it is estimated that at least 20 women experience a maternal morbidity. One of the most severe forms of which is obstetric fistula. Obstetric fistula is an abnormal opening between a woman's genital tract and her urinary tract or rectum caused by the prolonged obstructed labor without treatment. Between 50,000 to 1 lakh new cases develop worldwide each year. Most fistula cases occur among women living in poverty in cultures where a woman's status and self-esteem may depend almost entirely on marriage and ability to bear children. Yet fistula is almost entirely preventable. Its persistence is a sign that healthy systems are failing to meet women's essential needs. Obstetric fistula systems generally manifest in the early postpartum period. Others equally severe symptoms such as psychological trauma, deteriorating health, increasing poverty, and social stigmatization by family and friends can often do occur. Obstetric fistula can be prevented and in most cases treated. Patients with uncomplicated fistula can undergo a simple surgery that costs $600 per patient, including the post-operative care and rehabilitation support. Let's watch a short video. So as we have seen what it is, the obstetric fistula is a traumatic childbirth injury that robs a woman or a girl of her health, rights, dignity. It is a hole between the birth canal and the bladder that causes uncontrollable urinary incontinence. A hole between the birth canal and rectum causes feces to leak. So why it happens? Prolonged obstructed labor during childbirth, the sustained pressure of a baby's head against the mother's pelvis cuts off blood supply, causing tissue to die and fall away. The hole left is called a fistula. Obstetric fistula accounts for 8% of the maternal deaths and 90% of cases result in stillbirth. Who it affects and where it happens. An estimated 5 lakh women and girls in more than 55 countries throughout sub-Saharan Africa, Asia and the Pacific, the Arab states and Latin America and the Caribbean are estimated to be living with this fistula, with thousands more occurring every year. Now, what are the 5 things we should know apart from this? There are different types of obstetric fistula. While the most common type is hole between the birth canal and bladder, called vasicovaginal fistula, other types include rectovaginal fistula, hole between birth canal and rectum, urethrovaginal fistula, hole between birth canal and urethra, which carries urine from the bladder out of body, urethrovaginal fistula, hole between the birth canal uterus, carrying urine to bladder and birth canal, and vasicouterine fistula, hole between bladder and uterus. So some fistulas are caused during gynecological procedures, example, hysterectomy and cesarean sections, due to substandard health care and inadequate surgical skills, training, and competence. So that's why you should always get your deliveries done by an expert. There are called iatrogenic fistulas. So traumatic fistulas are caused by sexual violence, especially in conflict areas. The destruction of vagina is considered a war injury. So the second thing is the physical, social, psychological consequences of fistula are devastating. The lives of women with conditions are defined by lifelong physical and emotional suffering. The condition can that lead to infections, ulcerations, kidney disease, painful sores, infertility, and death. The smell from the constant leakage isolates women who are often shamed and stigmatized, abandoned by their friends and families, and ostracized by their communities. They suffer from depression and suicidal thoughts and other mental health issues. Denied livelihood opportunities, they are driven deeper into poverty and vulnerability. Young girls are particularly vulnerable to fistula. While it does not discriminate by age, young girls are particularly vulnerable because their bodies may not be ready for childbirth. 9 in 10 births to girls between ages of 15 and 19 occur in marriage or union. Worldwide, pregnancy and childbirth complications are leading cause of death among girls between age of 15 and 19. It's just one more reason UNFPA works to eradicate the harmful practice of child marriage. Fistula is rooted in poverty and gender inequality. Obstetric fistula has all but disappeared in rich countries with quality healthcare systems and skilled professionals who can perform cesarean sections. Midwives are a vital part of the solution. The International Confederation of Midwife states ending obstetric fistula requires the full involvement of midwives at the community, national, regional, and global levels. In addition, because of the gender inequality in many communities, women don't have the autonomy or agency to decide when to start having children or where to give birth. Fistula is treatable, but perhaps even more important, it is largely preventable. Up to 95% of fistulas can be closed with surgery. A surgical repair costs $600, well beyond the reach of most women with fistula. So if they are even aware of the exact medical condition they have and the treatment exists, through this and through its assistance to countries under campaign to end fistula, UNFPA has supported more than 121,000 life-changing repairs since 2003 and trained thousands of health workers to prevent and treat fistula. But before ever reaching the treatment stage, focus should be on prevention. Such measures include access to family planning, skilled birth attendants, and emergency obstetric care. Addressing societal factors that contribute to fistula, child marriage, early union and pregnancy, girls' education, poverty, and women's lack of empowerment is also part of the campaign to end fistula strategy. To have one's life compromised for bringing forth new life is devastating fate, but the awareness and will, the goal of eradicating the condition by 2030 is achievable. Childbirth was typically a home affair with midwives assisting during birth process. It wasn't until 1920s that hospital births became more common in US. However, the process involved questionable methods such as using forceps and anesthesia. In his book called Childbirth Without Fear, published in 1942, a doctor named Dr. Grantley Dick Red outlined the benefits of giving birth without such tools or anesthesia. In the 1970s, new trends were introduced. Husbands were now allowed to join their wives in the labor room, an act that was previously considered taboo. Furthermore, painkillers such as epidurals gained popularity. Water births and breathing work also became popular. Later, around early 2000s, C-sections became an alternative to vaginal birth and accounted for a third of deliveries. Today, childbirth is less life-threatening and safer thanks to the improvements in the medicine. Nevertheless, problems such as obstetric fistula still need to be tackled and eliminated through increased awareness and universal health care. So there are few things that will help stop obstetric fistula worldwide, including ensuring access to reproductive health services, eliminating gender-based inequalities socially and economically, preventing child marriage and children having children, and promoting education and human rights. So let's look at some of the important facts about babies. Babies can't produce tears until they are 2 weeks old. However, some babies can take longer to produce real tears. So no more tears for babies when they are born. Babies don't have kneecaps. Babies don't actually have kneecaps until they are about 6 months old. Babies have more bones than adults. While adults have 206 bones, newborns have 300 bones, which later merge into 206. As soon as the babies are born, they can recognize their mother's voice and smell. Statistically, only 5% of babies are born on their due dates. 50% are born with a week of due date and 90% within 2 weeks. So the gestation period is not always correct. So women with obstetric fistula are often stigmatized and shamed. However, more awareness is likely to foster sympathy and empathy for victims. This day encourages people to donate and support people suffering from obstetric fistula. This way, financial assistance is provided to help victims get proper treatment and social and family support. Day is also commemorated as World Turtle Day. Turtles and tortoise are common sightings in parables, stories, and pop culture, and we celebrate World Turtle Day on May 23rd to honor these resilient animals. Turtles and tortoise are associated with wisdom and preservance and longevity. They are reptiles that are found in many environments all over the world, and today is also commemorated as Kurma Jayanti, especially in Hindu culture. There are reptiles that are found in many environments all over the world. These creatures play an important role in their respective ecosystems. They dig holes that are inhabited by other creatures and keep our beaches clean by feeding on dead fish and that was up on the shores. They maintain an ecological balance and therefore it is important to conserve these gentle animals. It's easy to get confused between a tortoise and turtle. How many of you know the difference? You can put in chat box. Don't know, don't worry. We are here. The main difference between the two is that turtles sometimes live in water, while tortoise only live on the land. Turtles live up to the age of 40 and have streamlined and mostly flat shells. On the other hand, tortoise can live up to 300 years and they have larger, more domed shells. You'll mostly find turtles in the sea, while tortoise inhabit in dense jungles and grasslands. Turtles and tortoise are two different animals, but this day is dedicated to celebrating and protecting both. This day was first celebrated by American Tortoise Rescue in 2002, and it highlights the suffering and the dwindling numbers of these animals due to human interference and environmental hazards. Pollution. Schools, rescue centers, and nature lovers all come together on this day to learn more about these creatures and pledge their allegiance to help save them. American Tortoise Rescue was created by Susan Chellam and Marshall Thompson. They organize charity drives and actively work to spread the awareness for the critical conditions of these shelled reptiles. The couple is known for their human treatment of all animals, including reptiles, since its establishment in 1990. American Tortoise Rescue has given homes to over 4,000 tortoises and turtles. The organization also assists their local law enforcement in guarding turtles' natural habitats and tending them to when they are sick. We can see the tales and fables of tortoise and tortoise. The first versions of Aesop's fable, The Tortoise and the Hare, are published in 1547. In the West, Susan Chellam and Marshall Thompson established American Tortoise Rescue in 1990. ATR is established. The first World Turtle Day is celebrated by ATR in 2002. USPS prints its first batch of Save the Sea turtle stamps and donates the proceedings from it to the species conservation in 2011. So every year on May 23rd, this World Turtle Day is celebrated. According to Hinduism, Kurma is a turtle god. It is one of the avatar of Lord Mahavishnu to save the planet. So today is also commemorated as Kurma Jayanti. See, the greatness of Sanatana Dharma is every species on the planet is equally treated with God. It may be living being or non-living being, including forests, as we see Naimisharanya, that is also forest, and hills, mountains are also treated as God. So that's how only we could protect the earth from billions and millions of years. That's how the Sanatana Dharma, where there was no religion, protected all the species on the planet. But The present religious only focus on human beings. They are not concerned about nature or environment. And especially the atheism, the people who don't believe in God or divinity are notorious criminals in a kind where we can say they have started creating a lot of, of course, the one side, we should not be blindly believing any of the belief systems, but at the same time, people need some kind of fear factor. Otherwise, what will happen? If you think you need not follow any rules or regulations, what you will do? You will go psychic, you will go narcissistic, and you will behave as you want, as you like. Then it creates a lot of problems for you and also your family, your neighborhood, and in the society. So similarly, especially these are created to create a control, social control, religious control, economic control, and various other things to keep man or human beings under control. But if you don't even fear for God, what will happen? Then you will become insane, you will become demon, and you start behaving insane and start abusing everyone on this planet. So that is a problem. See, why there are many things put in place is to put human beings under control. And especially the Sanatana Dharma or Hindu Dharma, though both are different, no? And also synonymously referred to, they provide emphasis and they imbibe divinity into each and every aspect of nature. That's why we pray, rivers as gods. And that's why we worship rivers. We worship trees. We worship animals because we see divinity and we protect them. We conserve them. We promote them. And other religions, which always these so-called educated fools, I should say, idiots or whatever the term, I'm very sorry to say, because they are causing more harm than good to the society, to the nature, to the environment, because, they are not at all into the conservation and they are removing all these, beliefs on these things and they are making more vulnerable. And today, why nature is exploited? The main reason why temples were constructed on hills and hillocks, mountains, because the entire mountain is protected as sacred hill. So the entire biodiversity, ecosystem, the flora and fauna, that is plants and animals, are also protected. But now people started exploiting. That's why rivers are polluting. We have seen yesterday and daily we are seeing so many commemorations. How we have polluted our air through pollution because we don't care. And religion never signifies the importance of protecting nature, environment, or biodiversity ecosystems because they are more focused on human beings. So that is a major problem we see. And that's why when we emphasize or focus on too much on religion, especially certain religions which does not promote these kind of things, we start exploiting the nature and we start paying for that. Even that God also cannot save you because there is no concept there to protect the other species which you are highly dependent on. You are completely neglected the entire species, that entire ecosystem, the entire biodiversity on which you are entirely dependent upon. And now what will happen? Definitely you are going to pay for that. Today what the entire world is paying, everyone is paying, whether they are directly involved or not. Today why? Everyone, no one is left behind. Every country is paying, every citizen paying in one form or other. Because of this, that's why, Sanatana Dharma is the only Dharma that can help you because it is not religious, it is the way of life. Dharma means duty, duty of every species. Every species has a duty to perform. So we have to do our duty without expecting anything. Our purpose of coming into the world is to perform our duty without any expectations and leave the world performing our duty. But what we human beings do, for everything we need some benefit. Otherwise, we'll not at all do anything. So selfish creatures on the planet. That's why today we are abusing and we are paying in the form of climate change disasters. Can you imagine? Today, most of the places do not have water. Even the underground water levels are depleting, water tables are depleting. And tomorrow, definitely in the coming days, there will be a huge scarcity of water. And if there is no water, what will happen? There will be no forest. There will be no plantation. There will be no Western Ghats or Ghats, hilly regions. That means no rains. That means entire habitat is lost. So many species are lost. Now what humans will eat? Humans have to eat humans only. Cannibalism. Like dinosaurs and all, they eat themselves and became extinct. And of course, that is not the only reason, but that was one of the major reasons. So tomorrow that will happen, and soon humans also will become extinct. And what will you do with all these publications? Lot of things that we are doing, all trash will go into vain. We all are preaching, but we are not practicing. Preaching will not solve any problem. No matter how many papers you publish, no matter how many books you write, no matter how many lectures you give, if you don't practice, it's not going to help anyone. Only to improve your scores or number of publications, number of presentations, number of books, to improve your academic scores. You may publish anything, but it is all equal to trash if it doesn't have an practical implication. If it doesn't get turned into practice, there is no use. The first thing is, first you have to practice. If you don't practice yourself, who is going to practice? Who is going to follow your publication or presentation? That's why it is very important that we follow. Whether it may be a belief system, whether it may be a religion, unless and until it does not give emphasis. So the entire process goes wrong. That's why today, when people are moving away from Sanatana Dharma, we are paying more and more. We are suffering more and more. And we are, contributing to the more abuse, more destruction, not only to us, to the flora and fauna, that is plants and animals, to the nature, environment, biodiversity, ecosystems, and so on. Just ponder upon these, what is really happening, then you will understand the greatness of Sanatana Dharma. It is not like we are saying, because we have been brainwashed, we have been programmed in such a way that we are not able to think on our own. We are always flooded, stormed by all these so-called, what we have to say, those people with vested interests, with all propaganda, and our all education system is also entirely filled with such distorted histories and without any value education and without any purpose in it, other than just gaining some piece of paper as degree, as certificate, and that is fit for nothing, because that doesn't have any common sense or value education. And people are, though attaining doctorates, they are lacking common sense. Then what is the use of that? Because life is interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. You can't just rely on one discipline and say, I'm proponent and I can happily live in a discipline. No. By morning, if you get up, you are dealing with so many disciplines, right? Your own body, physiology, anatomy, and so many systems, medical health systems, and you are dealing with environment, you are dealing with economy, you are dealing with environment uh, and environment related issues. You are dealing with political system. You are dealing with democratic process. You are dealing with religious system, belief system. So all are part of life. And just attaining one doctorate or postdoctoral or a PG or a UG in one subject doesn't make you, we see a lot of arrogance in some people just attaining a degree or a doctorate. They feel that they have become the professor of the world, professor of all disciplines for that matter. This kind of arrogance is killing the world today because of that attitude. They think that they can create and recreate and manipulate and they can dictate the world nature, the planet. That is why today we all are paying for it. By irresponsibly modifying genes, genetics of flora and fauna, and without having proper knowledge, we are destroying our own world. That is, we are destroying ourselves gradually, consistently. So today is celebrated to increase awareness about these turtles and tortoise and creatures and ensure their protection, which is a symbol of longevity, which is life. So turtles and tortoise are, especially native breeds, are endangered, listed in red list. So you are not supposed to bring or adopt or pet any wild turtle or tortoise in your homes. And it is also prohibited as they have been declared as endangered species. And you will be also penalized with fines and also cases through the legal system. Now, if you want to adopt a turtle, how then? So you can keep turtles, but they should be reared in the aquariums or they should not be wild, basically. No, they should not be brought from the wild or from the nature. There are some aquatic turtles which are grown like fish, aquatic fish in aquariums, which are grown exclusively for the purpose of keeping them in aquariums or at homes as a pets. So you can use them because with that, you will not kill the species which are already endangered because you will not be able to take care of them properly. We have seen so many pets are being abused and already those species are endangered. And by removing them from their own habitats, we are posing threat to their habitats and to their life. So never ever, bring them from their natural habitats and try to rear them as pets. That is also illegal as they are part of endangered list. So if you still want to keep turtle, because many people believe that having a turtle at home or tortoise at home brings good luck. If at all you are prepared to take care of any such pet, so you have to get it from a breeder or an aquarium shop where you can get it and adopt a turtle. And don't leave them again into the wild. Especially we see, keep it till its last breath. We see many people after, because I am also into animal welfare. We see many people after it grows out to size, generally they keep growing. And as they grow, the maintenance becomes difficult. Especially many people keep turtles, not tortoise, because tortoise is rare to find. So, and mostly turtles are only raised in the aquariums for the purpose of exotic species which are kept in aquariums. So they often grow in size. That means more feeding, more maintenance, more cleaning. And that's why people often, when they grow big, they leave them in the ponds, in the lakes nearby. That is not at all a good sign because they are invasive species. They are not native species, and they might contain bacteria and lot of other things which will pollute. They can also infect the drinking water sources or the existing species there, or they might start eating up all the fish there or algae there where there are already species there. It is like immigrants coming from other people and settling here. They are taking up all the jobs and resources, and you will find no resources or you will keep struggling. In a similar way, when invasive species are introduced, they can pose a lot of threats. We have seen yesterday also biodiversity, cultural biodiversity, and yesterday also biodiversity. How invasive species which are native to them can create problems. So don't do that. Be prepared as long as it is alive, as long as it is healthy and growing. Always you be prepared, and before buying it, before adopting it, make sure what are its requirements and accordingly you plan. So don't, often we see for dogs and cats also, when they are small puppies they bring, and once they start growing, people also cannot manage them because they often bring for their children, and their children also keep growing, and after they become into teens and adults, they start neglecting. Not everyone, but in general. So they abandon on the streets, and they also create a lot of issues because small puppies are easily manageable, but big ones, unless and until they are disciplined and trained like us, like our human beings, they are also vulnerable because sometimes unpredictable as well. So similarly, if they are not properly trained, they will also become like, unpredictable human beings. And there are behavioral issues and discipline issues. So like excessive barking sometimes creates a nuisance in the community. Of course, it's a natural behavior, but it doesn't mean that you are disturbing the peace and harmony. Occasionally barking and other different, but whole day or hours together is not acceptable by anyone because it disturbs the peace and harmony of others as well. They also have the right to live in peace and harmony without any disturbance. So their rights should not be curbed because you are doing something. So for a reasonable time, duration, it's okay, acceptable. But beyond that, it is your responsibility when you are keeping a pet to take care of it, to train it properly. If you are going out also, train it properly so that it can engage itself in your absence, or leave it in a pet pet care center or shelter. Like now we have crutches and cradles to leave your babies while you are leaving your children in play school. Crutches, they also have now, most of the cities have this thing. So you can, if you are even going for office, you can leave there while going to office, and while coming from office, you can pick them so that they don't stay alone and they keep waiting for you so long and keep barking and calling for you, which can create a nuisance. So the ultimate, thing is you have to have certain discipline. It all depends on the parenting of whether child or pet. So volunteer to help out. So better always volunteer at some animal shelter or animal adoption center so that you can become acquainted and get trained yourself on various issues relating to parenting of pet, or how to maintain a pet. So you could sign up at any rescue center and volunteer to help out. Volunteers can help out by attending to sick animals, especially today we are commemorating turtles. So you can register at a turtle rescue center. That is not common in cities, only especially where there are beaches, seashores or shorelines. It is very common, but otherwise, if you don't have a seashore, then it is most uncommon that you will have a turtle rescue center. You can have animal rescue centers, which also take care of turtles and tortoise rescues, if any. And you also can learn to take care of sick turtles, feeding them, taking care of them, etc. So the shell is also part of the skeleton. The shell is the most disguised, distinguished part of the turtle, and experts say that it is made of 50 bones. Turtles and tortoise are illegally traded for the meat, shell, and skin. This has led to the endangerment of the creatures. And it is one of the most illegally traded animals. As I already mentioned, they are in the red list. So they are endangered animals. So don't even trading or keeping animals as pets is also illegal, which are being brought from wild or for that matter from forest or from their own natural habitats. So you can have turtles that are reared, especially in aquariums. They are bred for the aquariums. And turtles may all look the same to us, but there are actually 300 species of them. Of these, 129 are endangered, and which are known to us. Unknown are many, like reported are very small, unreported are many times much higher. So there are also one of the oldest creatures to be found, these turtles and tortoise. They existed since millions and years of ago, alongside with dinosaurs. They are still surviving. And let's not take the credit. Already we have got so much of bad reputation that we are destroying, and we are responsible for endangered or extinction of many species. Don't take any other. It is not a honor or any degree that you are getting. So that is a bad reputation, bad thing that we are doing by disturbing their habitats. So we inhabit the planet with countless different species, creatures, and World Turtle Day reminds us to be respectful of the ecological balance and sensitive to our animal friends. World Turtle Day promises better future where humans and turtles can coexist peacefully. Protecting these animals means protecting our own future. So don't think that, we are doing, we need benefit for everything. No, when you are doing something to the nature, to the flora, the fauna, that is plants and animals and nature environment, you are doing it for yourself, your benefit. So that will definitely help you out in long run and also in short run. So don't expect something, someone has to pay you to do some benefit or service to the nature or to protect, conserve nature. No, it is not a job or it is not an employment. It is our duty because we are dependent on them. If we want to be healthy, if our well-being is priority, then we should also take care of the well-being of flora and fauna, the nature environment, the planet. Otherwise, it is like you are living in a dumping yard. What will happen? So if you made the entire planet as a dumping yard, now you will die in no time, right? Similarly, we have to maintain, conserve, protect, promote, and also keep the environment clean. So animal lovers look forward for this day to do their bit for the conservation of turtles and tortoise, and it is a great day to volunteer, raise awareness, and donate, and be part of many events like this, online and offline. Today is also commemorated as Medical Coder Day, which is mostly commemorated in the US. It is a day dedicated celebrating the week and dedication of medical coders countrywide. Coders are committed to the analysis and classification of medical data. The information gathered by the medical coders is used by companies, organizations, and even the government because it is essential to improve the healthcare management system. Medical coders are professionals who analyze and classify different types of medical data using various forms of code. The data is then shared with healthcare providers, government facilities, and international agencies to be applied in research studies and constant improvement of the services they provide. By using standardized coding, medical coders provide reliable data across various other reports published on different dates. To arrange the best reports, medical coders have vast knowledge of anatomy, medical terminology, and even legal aspects of the healthcare industry, as well as good management of computer or paper-based data. These professionals can work by following three fundamentals: abstraction, assignment, and review. First, the coder goes through the patient's medical history, then transforms into code, and finally reviews it all, checking to see if the information collected and coded is relevant to the report's final goal. Medical coders go from trainee or entry level to nosologists, experts in that area with knowledge in more than one type of classification. In the United States, some courses provide certificates, degrees, and diplomas for medical coding. Recently graduated students go through internships and work with less complicated cases until they get back and get a bachelor's or graduate degree to work with intermediate or senior level cases. Today is also commemorated as World Prawns and Colitis Day, which is observed on every year on May 23rd. Prawns and colitis are the two most common kinds of IBD. IBD affects around 7 million people globally. Although it is not a prevalent disease, during the last 20 years, the increasing number of people having been diagnosed inflammatory bowel disease, in short known as IBD, is a serious chronic digestive disease with no cure, no recognized cause, and a lack of awareness of the pain and suffering that IBD patients endure. World Prawns and Colitis Day creates awareness of the struggles of such patients. For many years, Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis remained mostly unknown. Wilkes and Moxon, two English physicians, were first to identify ulcerative colitis in 1875, effectively distinguishing it from infectious diarrheal disorders. There were accounts of an illness that had symptoms similar to ulcerative colitis before the Civil War. It wasn't until 1875 it identified as a distinct illness. In 1956, Susan Rosenthal began experimenting terrible gastrointestinal troubles. Doctors had no idea what was wrong with her ears and had been misdiagnosed her. After being moved by Susanne's experience, the Rosenthals began exploring methods to fund Crohn's and colitis research in the 1960s. The National Foundation for Elitius and Colitis was created on September 12, 1967 by the Rosenthals, the Models, and Dr. Henry Jonowitz to address the issue of Crohn's and colitis. It wasn't until 1932 that three doctors, Beryl Crohn, Leon Ginsberg, and Jordan D. Oppenheimer, described Crohn's disease for the first time. Intestinal tuberculosis was assumed to be the only disease affecting the small intestine at that time. These doctors gathered information from 14 patients who had abdominal cramps, diarrhea, fever, and weight loss and discovered that the symptoms were not caused by tuberculosis or any other known illness. They defined a novel disease entity named called regional ileitis at first and then Crohn's disease subsequent. So IBD was poorly understood for many years after two diseases were discovered and little study was performed into the causes and treatments of Crohn's and colitis, let alone a hunt for remedies. So many of the IBD groups associated with World Crohn's and Colitis Day are adopting purple ribbon as a symbol of awareness and support for persons living with IBD. So wear a purple ribbon to show your support for this day and bring awareness. Although both Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis are chronic diseases, ulcerative colitis may be deemed worse because persons with severe ulcerative colitis may need surgery. People over the age of 50 who require surgery have a higher risk of dying as a result of colitis-related post-operative complications. In the past, it was estimated that 10% of all CD patients would develop a permanent stoma and that 30 to 50% of patients with complex perianal CD would develop a permanent stoma. Anti-TNF therapy could reduce the likelihood of a stoma by promoting remission and eliminating the need for a stoma. Most IBD illness are tagged as invincible illness, help spread awareness through various media like online and offline about Crohn's and colitis like we are doing. If you suffer from either one of these illnesses and are comfortable enough, share your story and how you effectively live a healthy lifestyle so that others can also get motivated and learn. During World Crohn's and Colitis Day, your story matters. Your contribution allows organizations to continue to help people with IBD. They rely on the generosity of the public. So on World Crohn's and Colitis Day, reach in to your wallet and finances and donate in cash or kind. To help spread the news about Crohn's and colitis disease, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation all over the world has developed shareable templates, internet material, and social media posts. You can copy material from the website and send them out to create awareness. Awareness is very important for prevention. Stress triggers colitis symptoms. Stress can be health hazard as it can exacerbate symptoms of colitis. The cause of ulcerative colitis is unknown because it's believed to be genetically driven immune system disorder. Crohn's disease, if left untreated, can progress to cancer. Symptoms of Crohn's disease differ from one person to the next. There are several different types of ulcerative colitis. This day raises public awareness and educates the public about IBD. It educates the public on the symptoms and realities of Crohn's disease and colitis. World Crohn's and Colitis Day helps elevate stigma and misconceptions about the illness. It also raises awareness that IBD is a severe, incurable disease, even though many people appear to be in good condition on the surface. So this day causes familiarity with the signs and symptoms as well as treatments for Crohn's and colitis. This improved familiarity can help people who are suffering from GI symptoms better understand when to go to doctors about early symptoms, which can help accelerate diagnosis and lead to better results. So today, finally, before closing, today is also commemorated as Lucky Penny Day in the US. It's always nice to find a penny on this day. Everyone is on lookout Like here, we call it as pies. In the US, it is called as a cent or a penny. So the discovery of pennies is often associated with good luck, and celebrations believe that if you find a penny on lucky penny day, you might just be incredibly blessed. So it's a belief. It's not about whether it's true or not. So thank you everyone for joining us. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which is being shared. Which has been shared in the form of polls, and we express our heartfelt gratitude to all of you by being part of this day's commemoration. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same link. And we have seen that many did not fill the feedback form. We have sent an email also. The feedback form is also updated for yesterday's international seminar. So we request everyone to check your mail or visit website and fill the feedback form so that we can prepare the certificates and update them on website. So the feedback form for today's session has been shared in the Zoom platform in the form of polls. We request everyone before leaving quickly fill up the feedback form. So we will wait for the participants to fill the feedback form. And then we'll close in another 5 to 10 minutes. In the meanwhile, we request everyone to quickly fill the feedback. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. After filling the feedback form, you may leave the platform.